Hi, this is Dave Michels from Talking Points. I just wanted to share this interview with Patrick Dennis, but let me explain it first. So, I just got back from Dubai, the Gitex Global conference. It's a huge event, but most of my time there was filled with the Avaya team. For them, it's a huge event, huge booth or stand, depending where you're coming from, and it's one of their biggest events of the year. Avaya's done really well overseas. The premises-based and private cloud solutions are preferred by many large organizations, particularly international organizations. Particularly, a lot of them are based here, based in Dubai, and but large parts of Asia and Europe continue to prefer private cloud solutions, and of course, large enterprises continue to prefer private cloud solutions. So, a big event for them here. Also attending the event was Patrick Dennis. Now, I've met Patrick Dennis, the new CEO of Avaya, before. I met him in Denver over the summer, and he was at this conference, and he was very accessible. He met with analysts at the Avaya offices. We had a very comfortable and long interactive session. Really appreciated that. But he also did, which I'm going to share with you here, a main stage interview at Gitex, and I thought it was a really good interview. It's pretty short, and you can get a sense for who he is. And so, now my impressions of Patrick is he's very sincere. You ask him questions, he speaks pretty clear answers, very plain English, not a lot of bluster, not a lot of performance, and I really appreciate that. He's also a numbers guy. He's very very comfortable with numbers. He has a private equity background, and he's not embarrassed by that in any means. He's very open about it. And then when you listen to this interview, you can see how he goes to numbers even if he doesn't have to, right? So the interviewer asks him a few questions, and he goes right to things like market size. He goes to ROI. He goes to talking about when they get into AI, he talks about the number of unicorns, the amount of investment the unicorns are getting, and what that represents. He talks about growth rates versus savings rates. So he goes right to numbers. Now, private equity and numbers leads to the obvious questions: what's his plans for Avaya? And does he plan to sell the company? Does he plan to break it up in parts, or what's his plan there? His response is actually pretty clear. He does say that private equity, the investors who largely own Avaya at this point, will indeed want to get some liquidity from their investment, but he doesn't equate liquidity to liquidation, right? So liquidity can come in lots of different ways, particularly if the business is growing and profitable, and that's what his focus is on. So can that be done? Well, actually, it can be accomplished. It's already in that state at this point. The company's finances are in pretty reasonable condition after the Chapter 11 process. The company is focused on large CX implementations, where it continues to have a huge base of customers and not a lot of competition, by the way. And the company is moving quickly with its own cloud delivered services for CX. Part of that is internally developed at Avaya, and part of that is through strong partnerships. And again, in this interview, he talks about strong partnerships. But they just recently announced their strengthened partnership with Verint, cloud-to-cloud integration, bringing all of Verint's bots to their solution. They have a huge base, huge overlap with Verint customers. Cognigy was actually in the booth. They're a Magic Quadrant conversational AI leader. And they're not just reselling Cognigy, it's fully, tightly integrated to the Avaya solution. So it's a very clean solution. So you got Cognigy, you got Verint. See, they were also showing off Journey. They call it Journey workflows, but they don't mean just the product journey or company journey. They're showing this whole workflow that included in that process customer validation, authorization, and authentication. That's what the word I want. And so they're using Journey for that. So again, he talks about partnerships in this short interview. But they're also making pretty steady progress on their own cloud solution, what they're calling AXP or Avaya Experience Platform. They announced some new packages of that just recently. I think it was last month or 2 months ago, and they did the acquisition with Edify, which brought in not only a lot of talent, but basically a native cloud platform. They're positioning that around orchestration, and so that is already delivering fruit. They were showing that in the stand, and so. Without any further ado, I want you to get to meet Patrick himself in this short interview, and thanks for watching.
Onto the stage, Patrick Dennis. He is the CEO of Avaya, who will be interviewed by Jane Witherspoon. She is a Euronews UAE presenter. So can we give them a very nice warm round of applause, please? Thank you. Lower than I thought, and I remembered.
It's a little fancy up here.
Patrick, can you please just give a little introduction about yourself and the role
Sure.
that you do and your business?
Sure. My name is Patrick Dennis. I'm the CEO of Avaya. Super happy to be here. We're a communications company, a little more than $1.5 billion all around the world. Big investment in this market as well.
Fantastic. So we are going to explore the evolving landscape of AI implementation in businesses, focusing on the shift from AI as a trendy technology to a tool that must demonstrate tangible value, outcomes, and return on investment. First off, how are we seeing that shift? What are you witnessing in terms of it transforming from that trendy technology?
Yeah, so if you think about technology in general, there's usually an investment phase, and then there's an implementation phase, and then people start to look for returns. And it's clear at this show, people are still investing in this space, and really we've moved into the implementation phase. So more than half of the CIOs around the world are making real investments in this space, and of that half are moving things into production. So we're still kind of early in the cycle, but there's enough implementation that's happened that people are really starting to look for results. And you might not be surprised, people want growth. What do all companies want? So companies are looking to use AI to better understand how to target market to people like us. And they're also looking for ways to maybe make the operation more efficient. But clearly they've moved from, it's not just people investing in the tech to build the tech. Tech is getting deployed and it's getting moved into production these days.
You mentioned their investment, and we were talking backstage, and you have a really impressive statistic that you can share with us in terms of the unicorns that are being planned for here.
Sure. So I'm a private equity person by background, and I was shocked when I came and heard that this region wants to put 100 unicorns on the map, and they want to put 33 of those unicorns right here. That's $100 billion of market cap. That's $33 billion of market cap here. If you took a simple 10x multiple, that means there's going to be $300 million of revenue generated from AI or AI-like applications just in this market alone over those next roughly 5 years. It's a huge amount of investment and a huge expectation on return.
It's incredible. In terms of today's business challenges, as you're out talking to customers, what are they bringing up as the challenges and upcoming plans?
Yeah, so our business is really focused on customer experience. So think about the last time you booked a flight or made a hotel reservation, or you might do a staycation, right? And so if you do that, you'll do that online. We work with those kind of customers, and we make the software that does those kind of things for people like ourselves. So what might they think about? Well, if you call into a contact center, you certainly want that person to be prepared to help you either get the best room in the hotel with the ocean view or get a better seat. And one of the challenges in the industry is that there's oftentimes turnover. So one very tangible place where customers want help is, how can we make our agent experience and our customer experience just better for our customers? And then if you go back to that growth side and the revenue side, do you like to spend money with companies that know you better? Of course you do. So you can use some of this technology to think about the tastes and preferences of a particular customer and what opportunity that might make for your company to just sell more.
Well, that's from the business perspective. In terms of the customer, where are you seeing the trends in them, where they are investing in AI today?
Yeah, so if you go right back to the contact center for a minute, now admittedly you're talking to a contact center and customer experience CEO, so you're going to get that kind of answer. But customers are making investments in and around those experiences. And for instance, if you went and saw what we're doing at our booth, we're doing agent assistance, which means we're bringing those agents more information that they can use with their customers. We're doing things like improving the online experience so that if you start off in something like chat, you could move over into something like voice, and there's a lot of continuity. And then even after all that interaction is done, we're putting that information aside so that customers can process it and think about what they want to do in the next set of interactions.
What impact on the business is AI having in terms of replacing, I don't want to go into full sci-fi mode, but replacing the humans? Are we all going to be out of a job?
I think you're fine. And it's a really important question. So early days, the investors thought that you would replace agents with software. And I would tell you we're not seeing that yet. So if you look at the statistics on job openings in contact centers, same number of jobs roughly open now that have been over time. What we really are seeing right now is this assistance that I've been talking about and enabling agents to do a better job. I would also tell you that this isn't the first time that I've heard there's going to be fewer people involved. I've heard that over my entire career. And what I've seen most of the time with most technology is we reuse those skills to get more growth. So I think this will look the same. It doesn't mean I don't think it's going to have an impact on the workforce. People are going to have to rethink how to do their jobs. But ultimately, I think companies are going to prioritize growth over savings.
How is the workforce, are they going to embrace that? Is it hard? Are you going to have a problem trying to convince people that this is the way forward?
Well, what's interesting about this particular trend versus some others is most of us have used some AI day to day. And I'm pretty passionate about this topic. I've been in software a really long time, and we've built some good interfaces for software. We've built some bad interfaces for software. I'm sure if we asked you, you have your favorite app and your least favorite app. But what's amazing about AI is you can go back to the interface we were all born with. You can go back to high quality voice. And these systems are sophisticated enough that we're going to be able to speak to them as the interface and get the response that we want. And by the way, they're sophisticated enough that perhaps we're going to speak to them in one language with an agent that doesn't necessarily speak that language and be able to respond. So I think it opens up the ability for people to communicate in a really, really new way. And I think that's really exciting.
Fantastic. In terms of business impact and AI, how can companies effectively demonstrate their return on investment and effectiveness of their AI implementations? How are they monitoring that?
It's going to be such a meat and potatoes answer. All the same metrics you've used before. So that's a place where I don't think you have to rethink everything. Do you want to have a high level of customer satisfaction? Sure you do. Did you measure it before? Sure you did. Are you going to measure it again? Yes, you are. Should you see impacts? Yes. There's statistics in our industry that are standard. How long does it take you to handle an interaction? I'm sure you want your things handled properly and quickly. That hasn't changed. And so when it comes to demonstrating these hardcore return on investment metrics for people, you don't have to change them all. Just show them in the core business how it's doing better now after the investment in AI than it was doing before.
You sort of touched on this when we were talking about the replacing the humans, which isn't going to happen. But in terms of Avaya's AI approach, how are you integrating AI into your business solutions to enhance that customer experience and your employee productivity?
That's a really good question. The first thing people in software technology should say to answer a question like this is, we can't all do it all. And so what you're going to find is very important, and we believe this at Avaya, is that you have an ecosystem of partners all that have specific technology and capabilities. And at Avaya, what we've chosen to do is build a platform that allows a customer to choose capabilities that are most applicable to their respective business. And we showed that off while we were here. In fact, most of the things that we're showing off and demonstrating here are not just our technology alone, they're our technology with our most important technology partners. And that's important to a customer because you don't ever want to be the first person to try to plug these two things together, right? Especially in this AI age. So I think it's really important to have a robust ecosystem and make sure customers have choice so they can plug and play the right tech in to solve the problems that they have. At the most macro level, you're almost forced to engage in this discussion or you really can be left behind. And so everyone is going to try to figure out what this means for their respective business. I think what's also important, and it goes a little bit to your last question, you want to partner with somebody that you know very well because it is early days. If you kind of string together all your questions, you're going to make some early investments, you're going to get some things wrong, you're going to try to lean in on the things you get right. You're going to want partners around that you've worked with some time and you trust to help you on that journey, because it's not an option to not take the journey or you simply won't be competitive.
You asked if I would be interested in, parting with my money for some, earlier on, but are we going to get to the point where the technology knows us and knows our choices better than we know ourselves?
I mean, there's some evidence of that now. I'll share a personal story. 3 out of the last 5 purchases I've made were brands I was not familiar with that were presented to me in a way that was both compelling to me and drove a purchase. And it was in part because of the customer experience. And so I do think one of the lesser talked about points here is that AI does give a chance for all these new companies to kind of level the playing field. And I mean this outside of technology. New brands that are just going to get to know you, leverage data sources that also know you, so that they can really precisely target you with an experience and a product that you find compelling and makes you want to buy.
It's going to blow our minds. The million-dollar question, I know you don't have a crystal ball in front of you, but how do you envision the future of AI in enterprise communications?
It's going to blend. We should reach a place where more and more often AI is playing a role in helping both you and whoever is servicing you get to the right answer, but you don't know that it's happening.
So our title was, we're talking today, was AI is moving from a must-have to a must-show.
Yeah.
What is going to be the biggest change we're going to see then in the next 1 to 2 years?
Back to the core business metrics, you should see 2 things. We should see growth and we should see efficiency. So we should, in very, very simple terms, if a company saw revenue go up and costs go down, they'd be pretty happy. And by the way, that would have been true for the first time in the Industrial Revolution, where revenue went up and costs went down. For the kind of the history of capitalism, we've been chasing those 2 things, right?
Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together. Thank you so much, Patrick Dennis.